Today, on Be Something Wonderful, how to deal with and ignore unwanted and negative 3D conditions. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, welcome back. This question has come up quite a bit lately. Tom, how do I deal with negative, undesired 3D conditions? How do I ignore conditions that are negative or unwanted that are right in my face? It's a big question. I've answered it in many different ways, but today we're going to answer it and talk about it like we never have before. Just as I was contemplating the video on this, there was a beautiful posting on yesterday's video, a comment from one of you that was beautiful, that was genius, that was perfect. And here it is. This is the video that made it all click. They're responding to yesterday's video. There's a link in the description. I kept thinking about how can I ignore 3D conditions and my reactions to 3D? How can I ignore that? How can I deal with any of that? But now I understand it isn't even about that. Our conditions and reactions to them are just consequences of our own stories. And he had lots of laugh here. I've reposted this on the community board. I'll just tell a different story about myself, and that's all. What a powerful realization. Exactly the message. But we're going to get at it in a different way today. Right? That the only process you will ever need to manifest your dream life was the video, yesterday's video. And what is it really about? Telling a new story or telling a story of how you would like things to be. It's to remember who you really are. It's to remember that you, as a point of consciousness, as that I am awareness, can tell any story that you want. And the story you tell determines the conditions and your reactions to them. Right? Your only true story is your I am story, that you're the source of all conditions and reactions. So let's hit it like we never have before. Remember, and I've said this many times, you're not here to ignore or deal with or deny 3D reality. You're here to create it. You're here to transcend it. You're here to choose your experience of it. This is powerful. You're here to determine your relationship to these so-called conditions. You are 3D reality. You're all of it. To remember who you really are, to remember that you are reality. Ultimate reality is within you and outside of you. Verse 3 of the Gospel of Thomas. In Jesus' last teachings. In the last Gospel of Thomas, ultimate reality is within you and outside of you. It's all of it. You're all of it. Spirituality or enlightenment is not about having what you judge as only perfect thoughts and feelings. Experiencing, seeing, and perceiving what you judge as perfect conditions. Rather, it's about thinking, feeling, and experiencing everything, and then choosing again as source. That's what enlightenment is. That's what spirituality is. That's what, quote, the journey is about, that everyone talks about the journey. It's not about having what you judge as perfect experience or perfect thoughts and feelings. It's about feeling and thinking and experiencing all of it, and then choosing again and determining your relationship to all of it as source. That's powerful. Let's hit it like we never have before. It's to remember that you're already perfect, that I am awareness. You're already that perfect I am awareness. That was the message of Jesus when he said, therefore, you shall be perfect just as your Father in heaven is perfect. In Matthew 5:48. He didn't mean what you judge as perfect. He meant it is all perfect. Judge not according to appearances. Right? It's because you can't possibly judge. In other words, the Father in heaven is source with which you are one with. With which you are one. You're one with source. You are source. You were made in God's image, the perfect image or idea of God as God's son. And God doesn't make mistakes. God doesn't get it wrong. And ideas leave not their source, as A Course in Miracles says. You never left God. You never left that perfection that you are. You're always one with it. This is beautiful. Every thought, every feeling, every condition, every 3D world experience is to remind you of your true nature, of that nature as source, or name as that I am awareness, nature or name as I am. To remind you of your true story, your only story. Wow, that's powerful. To feel is to heal. Every spiritual teacher has talked about this idea, right? Means to remember you're already whole or healed. That's what that means. It's not to reject or deny or ignore or run away from any of it. It's to feel it. It's to think it. It's to experience it. And then choose again. Determine your relationship to all of it. To remember your true story. By choosing again and again the story that aligns with the next best version of you. What's your next best version? Following your excitement. What's your next best excitement? Following your bliss, as Joseph Campbell says. Bashar says, follow your excitement. It's that, what aligns with that next best version of you. But remember, behind all the stories, or in other words, before all the stories that you tell, all the thoughts, the feelings, the events, and the conditions of 3D reality, of the physical experience, is your true identity and story, I am. That's why in Scripture, in John 8:5-8, it says, before Abraham was, comma, I am. And there's been a lot of debate about the comma, where it should be. But forget the comma and the grammar altogether, and just before Abraham, I am. Before all the stories, before any story is told, behind all the stories, before all the stories, is your true awareness of being, is your true story. When you know yourselves, then you'll be known and you'll realize that you're children of the living source. Verse 3 of the Gospel of Thomas, Jesus' last teachings, right? When you know yourselves, then you'll be known. Then you'll be known. In other words, you will be living that as source, as the one and only source. You'll realize that you're children of the living source, that you are source. So all unwanted and negative 3D conditions and your thoughts, feelings, and reactions about and to them are a door. They're a portal. They're the way to remember or awaken to who you really are. That's what they're all about. They're not to be ignored or rejected or denied, but rather to be felt, experienced, and transcended. Do you get this, right? That's why Jesus said, I am the door, I am the way, I am the resurrection, I am the life. Right? To resurrect, to rise above, to feel them and experience them and transcend them. That's why we're here. This is what Paramahansa Yogananda said. Your trials and tribulations did not come to punish you, but to awaken you. To make you realize that you're a part of spirit and just behind the spark of life is the flame of infinity or eternity or God or you as source. Very, very powerful. Nothing you think, nothing you feel, nothing you experience is right or wrong or good or bad. Rather, it's all to remember, to point back to who you really are. To know yourself experientially as the one and only source. To realize that you're the children of the living source, right? The Son of God. The negative, uncomfortable thoughts, feelings, and experiences are revealing who you are not, so you can become more of who you really are. Do you see it? That's why Abraham Hicks and other spiritual teachers talk about it as an emotional guidance system to guide you to who you really are. The negative, uncomfortable thoughts, feelings, and experiences are revealing who you are not, so you can become more aware of who you really are, to identify with and remember who you really are. That's why Chris Kelvin in the movie Solaris that I talk about over and over again in hundreds of videos, maybe not hundreds, but dozens of videos, I remembered her wrong and somehow I was wrong about everything. right? As he had that experience of his wife that died by suicide as she comes back, as he remembers her righteously or the right way, remembers that he is source, that there is no good or bad or right or wrong, it's only his story. He remembered it wrong, and somehow you're wrong about everything when you remember it wrong. Remember, memory is an imaginal act, it's an image. Tell the story as how you would like it to be or how you would have liked it to be. Because that's the only story that matters. That's powerful. No matter what you are thinking, no matter what you are feeling, no matter what you are experiencing, no matter how long you have thought and felt and experienced it, you can make a new choice right now to remember it differently, to remember it righteously. That's why Jesus, in the video I just did a few days ago, in that scene from The Chosen, in the healing of the paralyzed man at the pool of Bethesda, Jesus says to him, so get up, pick up your mat and walk. He goes, you don't need this pool. You don't need any of those conditions. You only need me. I am awareness. It was such a powerful scene. Get up. Pick up your mat and walk. Let's go. Your higher self, your awareness of being is always there to pick you up as you tell your new story and remember who you really are, right? That's why the prodigal son, when the son came back, right, the second son, after squandering his inheritance, he rose. And it says here, he arose and came to his father, because he came, not went to his father, came to his father, because you're always one with the Father. You never left the Father. You never left source. You are source. That's why the grammar purposely said came to his father, not went, came to his father. But when he was still a great way off, his father saw him and had compassion and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him and embraced him. Even when you feel you're still a long way off for what you want, for what you desire, for the reality you want to occupy, for the identity that you want to be, you're already there. Came to his father. You're never separate from that source. And source will come running to you and embracing you, that I am awareness. That's how to deal with or ignore, because you don't deal with them, you don't ignore them, you transcend them, unwanted and negative 3D conditions. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, thank you. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for liking and sharing and commenting on the videos. Thank you for being part of our Facebook group, the Be Something Wonderful Ambassadors, at facebook.com/groups/Be Something Wonderful, for joining us on Instagram and Twitter at Tom Kearin, for joining us on TikTok at Be Something Wonderful, and for just being part of our membership channel. Thank you for joining. A lot more of you are joining now. There was just a new video, new content downloaded, powerful content downloaded, and the live stream that we just had on Saturday morning at 9 a.m. in the morning on December 30th. We went live, and we're going to have another live event this month. So stay tuned. I'll be announcing that. Creators, with great love, with great lights and infinite gratitude, this is Tom with the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness here in Las Vegas. Until next time, we'll see you soon.